Amateurs, book number 8, Midnight on the Moon. Chapter 2, Space Motel. Jack opened his eyes. He looked out the window. The treehouse had landed inside a large white room. What kind of training place is this? Asked Annie. I don't know, said Jack. The room was round. It had no windows. It had a white floor and curved wall lit by the bright light. Hello? Annie called. There was, there was no answer. Where were all the astronauts and space scientists? Jack wondered. There's nobody here, said Annie. How do you know? Said Jack. I just feel it, said Annie. We better find out where we are, said Jack. He looked at the page in the moon book. He read the words below the picture of the dome. A moon base was built on the moon in the year 2031. The top of the dome slid open to let the spacecraft enter and leave. Oh man, Jack whispered. What's wrong? Said Annie. Jack heart pounded with the excitement. He could hardly speak. We've landed inside the moon base, he said. So? Said Annie. So the moon base is on the moon, said Jack. Annie's eyes widened. We're on the moon? She asked. Jack nodded. The book says the moon base was built in the year 2031, he said. So this book was written after that? Which means this book is from the future? Oh, wow, said Annie. Morgan must have gone forward in the time of borrowed it from a future library. Right, said Jack. And now we're in the future on the moon. Squeak, squeak. Annie and Jack looked at the peanut. The mouse was running around the circle. Poor Peanut, said Annie. She tried to pick up the mouse up, but Peanut hid behind the mango on the letter M. Maybe she's nervous about being on the moon, said Annie. She's not the only one, asked Jack. He let out a deep breath, then he pushed his glass into place. So, what's the moon base? Asked Annie. Jack looked at the book and he read aloud. When scientists visit the moon for a short period, they eat and sleep in the moon base. A space motel, said Annie. I guess, said Jack. You read more. The small base has a landing chamber and the room for storing the spacesuit. Air and the temperature control makes breathe possible. So that's why we can't breathe, Jack said. Let's explore, said Annie. We have to find the force thing for Morgan. No, first we should study this map, said Jack. He pulled out his notebook. You study it, said Annie. Jack copied the map, then he drew in the treehouse. Spacesuit storeroom, airlock, rocket entry, landing chamber, treehouse. Ta-da! Okay, he said. He pointed at the X in his drawing. We are here. Jack looked up and he was gone. Oh, brother, said Jack. As usual, she had left without him. Before they could even make a plan, Jack put the moon book and pencil into his pack. Carrying his notebook and backpack, he started out the window. Squeak, squeak! Jack looked back at Peanut. The mouse was running back to the porch on the end. Stay here and be safe, said Jack. We'll be back soon. Jack swung himself over the windowsill. His feet touched the floor of the landing chamber. Annie! He called. There was no answer. Jack looked at his diagram. It showed only the one way to go. Jack walked along the curve, the white wall, to the stairs. He climbed the step to the hallway. Jack, hurry! Annie was at the end of the hallway, standing in the airlock. She peered out the window in a giant door. Jack hurried down her. hurried toward her, and he stepped aside so he could look out the window too. Oh, man, said Jack. What he saw took his breath away. He stared at the rocky gray land. The land was filled with the giant crater and tall mountain. The sun was shining, but the sky was ink black. Say hi to the moon, and he said softly.